Hello people. Well, sort of, I have a normal day today and I didn't plan this video, but, after all, I decided to make it what a situation, this video. But thoughts visited me to do more. Client, what happened there? Well, sort of, shaves. Enough, I think. I think so. Here you go. How much do I owe? $150 or $18 is like a sharp one. You can shave, and so that without change somehow. There is no. Won't there be dozens? Yes. Keep 60 change. Thank you.
Come in if you need anything.
Sorry, in general, the situation is what? Thoughts to make this video visited me on the 28th of August 2012. But, since I do not know English, this thought remained just a thought. Well, let's just say that I plan to add English subtitles to this video and send the video to the addressee. Actually, the video will be called A Question to the Village of Glesser. Where does he recruit people? Maybe by ads, or how? Or maybe he takes students for a part-time job. Well, the question is what? Look, in the 12th year, on August 28th, I received a package from KnifeWorks where I ordered several knives for myself and for a friend, and also one of the knives that I ordered paramilitary 2 for myself. Well, in principle, what can I say here? Let me cut out a piece of that video and put it on now. You will see everything for yourself. The wedges are not in the center. Let me show you. Let's see what we have here. For the boys of the Urals, the wedges are not centered on paramilitary. Shoals with descents can also be seen right away, that is, here even at the tip you can see what kind of disadvantage there is here. That is, right now you can see more on the one hand, less on the other, and, here you see what kind of drawback. That is, here we have a sharpening from here. It's starting, and here from here is this joint, but I don't understand how, since this can be put into a series in stores. Here's such a kalinker you see for yourself, yes. Beauty. That is, this knife needs to be sharpened. Well, we look beyond the court, this is generally some kind of marriage. That is, descents from one side, let's look at it from one side, there are probably millimeters, 2.5 to 3 in descents from this side. That is, a millimeter with a stretch. A little bit 1.1 millimeter somewhere. Look, well, how does this mean? I don't understand at all. How can this be put into a series in stores, and where does Spyderco have quality control? If someone tells me, I will be very happy. Well, in principle, you yourself have just seen everything. Yes, that is, a knife with jams, with good obvious such jams. The guys from Spyderco let them go on sale, as it were. People buy then resent. Well, I do not understand how this can be done, how such knives can be sold, but I will say right away that I do not remember exactly. I bought this knife at KnifeWorks for about $110, which is all 107 in my opinion, or 105. Plus delivery. In Ukraine, this knife costs $1,200, $1,250 to $1,300, depending on which store you will find it in stock. See what question. This knife, this particular knife, the man bought. I do not know, somewhere probably a month ago, and his lock was terribly stuck. He sent me this knife I made him. The lock is not sticking now, everything is fine. The knife is lubricated with dry grease for him. And it works great. But the question is, what did the person give this knife to his acquaintance or friend to use? And that's what happened. Well, you see, yes. Just a little bit missing the tip. Just a little bit missing the tip. That is, a friend took a knife and did something with it and pricked the tip. Well, in order to somehow resolve the situation, I think that a friend offered to order a new knife for the owner of the knife and keep this knife for himself. But when he came, here is the very new knife. The owner of the knife, well, which he intended to see, was horrified and said, well, as such a knife, in principle, cannot be used. He called me. Says Ruslan. This is the situation. A man gave a knife, he spoiled it a little bit, they ordered me a second knife, but when he came, how would he be worse than the first one several times? How would I use it in principle, because it's not aesthetically pleasing to take such a knife in my hands. That is, he says, well, I'm kind of new to this business, but nevertheless I understand that it's just not aesthetically pleasing to use such a knife. That is, you can't use it because you see what the situation is, well, carts. Very crooked. Well, let's compare it in principle. I specially removed the clip both there and there to fold two knives like this and show you. Let's basically zoom in. Well, to begin with, you see, this is it. The very place where the supply ends here, once here, to see the difference. See, yes. Turn it over. Exactly the same situation is exactly the opposite, that is, here are 2 times here, the difference is also visible. Let's put 2 knives like this. Well, I'll drive up a little bit more, that is, now you can see the difference, right? That is, even the carts themselves. Even the knife carts themselves are made differently here, closer to the handle, or rather further from the handle. The descents begin a little closer here. That is, this very heel here, too, is also a little different, and besides, here. Who sharpens these knives on which grinder, and so, I do not know what you need to do in order to get such carts, see. That is, if we compare the supply here and here, then they are completely different. Well, to begin with, let me show you this knife here. The supply here is wide at the heel, then it goes on and on and on. At the tip, it is very narrow, very narrow. Such a supply can be seen that it is uneven and uneven along the entire length of the blade. It narrows to the tip of this knife. We take the second one. Here the supply is wide supply, and further to the tip it becomes even wider. That is, if you look at the knives like this, then the difference will be visible. See, yes. What kind of jam is on the left knife on your side? Well, here it is clear that the tip is broken, but here this jam is clearly visible. That is, if you look at the knife in this way, well, the camera does not focus, unfortunately. Unfortunately, the camera does not focus, but I assure you that this is some kind of nightmare. Let's maybe try it. That is, well, it feels like there's either some student sitting there or some child from the 5th grade in here, sharpening knives on Spyderco at the factory. That is, well, this is real. Here is a huge difference in the supply lines left and right, they start in different ways and end in different ways. That is, here, well, here at least the supply from this side is along its entire length, it is uniform here the supply is not uniform here it is thinner, here it is much thicker so maybe I'll show you. It looks like yes. Factory grind I show that here everything is factory, no one has reworked anything. That is, it would be another matter if the owner had already sharpened something there and then we were indignant. Well also. A piece of the video you have seen yes, that is, the knife came from the store, and I immediately opened the box and then here are all these shoals, they immediately became obvious, they are very obvious, then the question is actually to the village of Glesser, well, how can it be, do something about it. That is, I do not understand where and how these knives are sharpened at the factory, or I do not know, well, look at the situation, what is the next situation, well, as if it's not the first year I've been sharpening knives for more than 10 years. I sharpen knives, well, let's say I provide services given to the population, well, when I sharpen a knife on ordinary emery, all my carts are symmetrical. That is, on one side and on the other it starts here, let us say there are 2 mm and ends at the tip of the blade is also 2 mm. That is, well, in principle, yes, take any, let's say Chinese gas, it has absolutely symmetrical supplies. That is, here and here the width of the supply is the same on this side, also, this is Ganzo, this is not Spyderco, take any Ganzo and he has normal carts from that side and from that side they will be symmetrical. I have never seen any, that is, in addition, well, as if the knife costs this $20, well, a maximum of 30 in Ukraine, yes, this one costs for the first time in Ukraine probably all $130. And that is a little more expensive, $150 well, for what money is this quality? That's a question for the village of Glesser, maybe he will pay attention to his products. Maybe he doesn't see it. Then the residents of Ukraine would be grateful to him and not only to Ukraine if these shoals on knives were already, let's say, already a brand, yes, Spyderco. That is, these jams, if they were absent, I believe that it is at least not aesthetically pleasing to sell such a knife, that is, at least to sharpen the knife. I think it is symmetrical on both sides so that he cuts. Spyderco knives cut without problems, they cut paper everything is wonderful, that is, they are sharp from the factory, but what else would there be such terrible carts would be wonderful. Well, in a week I plan to add English subtitles to this video and send it to the addressee. It would be interesting to see maybe his comments under the video, or maybe in private messages he will answer something on this topic. Well, who thinks that this video was useful and it would really be nice to improve to help Spyderco to improve the quality of their products, then we put like to help Sal Glesser in this. That's it, bye bye, see you later.